Hello and welcome to Pokemon Part 61, and first of all let's take care of these few swimmers here, because we're going on an archaeological dive through the abyssl ruins or whatever. Now for this little trip here we will need the HM dive, so I just taught it to Swanna here. Quite apt. Now the interesting move about the move dive, and it's unfortunate I have to get rid of the move Aqua Ring, by the way, but the interesting effect of the move Dive, well, once you use it, your Pokemon trainer has, well, for some reason he seems to gain the ability to breathe underwater. Just cause. I love saying that I can see bubbles coming from his mouth. So yes, dive. Essentially, it's a move which lets you dive downwards and go into secret areas. Now, first of all, there are lots of items you will find here. In fact, quite a few hidden in almost every nook and cranny. Now, as for these relic items, like you see here, the relic gold, the relic copper, you will actually be able to sell, these items to the Undella villa. Well, to one of the people inside the villa at Undella town for quite a high price. So while I'm here, I take the time to actually collect every piece. Now, as for these messages you see on the wall here, they can be translated. I'm not sure what they say, just stuff, I suppose. They probably tell you the clues on how to get through this little bay here, which, by the way, is fairly it's very cryptic, as you'll see later on. Well, for a start, you will need the TM Flash, the TM Strength, and I'm not sure what else, but we'll see. This is interesting. I'm on the Bulbapedia page for this place, and it tells you what the messages are. Like floor 1. And essentially we're going to be here for a whole part, so I might as well take the time to read these out. On floor 1 the messages say, listen to King's words. Primes lead the truth. King is brave. King never loses hope. King is kind. King has a dream. King is adventurous. King accepts all. King turns second corner. King turns third corner. King turns fifth corner. King turns seventh corner. Have the heart of a king. Here we praise King. King's light shines. King moves his people. King acts with love. King fought hatred. No king gets lost. Go on, brave King. So, who's the king here? Is it meant to be the player? Oh, I guess it is. I guess it is. Because the last item we collect is the crown, so I guess we have to prove ourselves by solving a series of puzzles. Now, when it comes to the Undella Bay here, you can see there are 4 entrances and exits. And the gimmick of this place, if you haven't heard, is after a certain number of steps, you get ejected out. I think it's 250. Ooh, is that plate? And that's another aspect about this place. You can collect these plates. Now, if you don't know about these items, if you equip it to a Pokemon, it will power up a move of a certain element. Like the Zap plate I just collected will power up electric type moves by 20%. Not to mention, if you have the legendary Pokemon Arceus and you equip it with a plate, that will change its type. Like if you give it a Zap plate, it will become an electric type. Speaking of which, I guess we will now have a fairy plate or something. Yes, in case you're wondering, there is a plate for almost... Actually, I think for every type in this ruins here. So I guess it's definitely worth looking out for. Now, one of the... I was going to say... I forgot what I was going to say at all. But yeah, I actually, with this emulator, I actually have like the PDF file, which is the strategy guide for Pokemon Black and White. But the thing is, it doesn't have the map of this place. It doesn't tell you how to get through it. And I know it's the official guide, but that seems a bit lame to me. It's like, yeah, we're the official walkthrough, but oh, we're not going to tell you everything. I actually had the official walkthrough for Pokemon Yellow. And I'm saying that, you know, that game didn't mention the broken critical hit stats. It didn't say if you had a Persian with Slash, it would get a critical hit nearly every time. Yeah, and what you're noticing here is me going back and, you know, keep going back downwards to collect all the items. Oh, actually, I'm just looking at the trivia page, and apparently the Splash Plate and the Draco Plate don't appear in these ruins. So, you know, I guess you don't get every plate then. And just to recorrect a mistake I just made, it's actually 500 steps. You take 500 steps and you get ejected out. So I guess in a weird way, this is a sort of reminiscent of the Safari Zone from Generation 1. So yeah, I guess there's no real point to this place, in a way, but it's definitely worth doing. I really think it's really interesting to explore. And another thing too, it is a Pimarid, so you start off at the bottom and work your way up to the top level. But yeah, it's worth getting the items for the sake of money, and it's also worth getting these plates because you never know when you want to boost up an attack. Yeah, see, at this point I'm not really sure if just popping in and out will reset the step counter. So I just thought, forget it, I'll just go completely all the way out and then dive back in there. Speaking of which, I do like how Swanna can learn water HMs and fly as well. That makes him quite useful. Like, it does bother me there are so many water HMs. I mean, granted, I'm glad they sort of dropped Whirlpool, but it's still like Surf, Waterfall, and Dive. But at least you only need to use Dive in one place here, so... Well, if I wanted to, I could have just caught a Pokemon like Walmer or something and teach him to Dive. And just use him just this once. And another thing too is I use Repel in this place. But I don't think you need to use it. Because, yeah, I've never had a wild encounter here. And this goes for the ruins, not the bay. This was quite tricky when recording, because I had to make sure I collected all the items, but also I did it efficiently. Like at this point I think, can I just collect these very quickly? Insect plate, hooray. Mind plate, that will be obviously for Psychic type moves. So you can probably tell these, you know, which type for which plate fairly easily. Speaking of which, in the timeline of the Pokemon universe, I'm not sure how all these plates got here, because presumably the last person to have them was Diamond or Pearl. But yeah, but at this point I think I've nearly got all the items on the first floor, so now I will show off the proper path. Unless I get lost again. Yeah, I sort of come this way through the top entrance, but I think the actual west entrance is the fastest way, or the most ideal path. And yeah, and to get through the first obstacle here, you just talk to the block there, or read it. Okay, now we're on the second floor. And again, I have to repeat this routine of collecting all the items. Well, on the bright side, this floor is a lot smaller than the previous one, so it shouldn't really take too long. Now these are relic items. They obviously come in different values. The more common items sell for a cheaper price, like relic copper. But of course relic gold is worth more, and so on and so forth. Of course the most valuable one is the relic crown. But I guess that does signify your victory over this place. So yeah, I do like the idea of having this pyramid. It's a cool design. It's a good use of the HM dive. It is worth going for all the goodies. You know, it's like I'm a regular Indiana Jones. And you know, I must say, Pokemon protagonist, you are really good at holding your breath. Now what I do here is I cut back to the second floor, because essentially you don't need to see me go through the first floor again. That's essentially what I do. And besides, the way I look at it is that if I showed off everything about the first floor the first time round, we don't need to see it again. So when it comes to the first floor, I showed off all the items, I showed off how to get through, and now we're on the second floor, where I need to show off a few more of the items probably, and also show off how to get to the third floor. And again, these are really cryptic. Hopefully this should be the last item. See, I can't even tell you myself as I'm watching this footage because I lost track. All I see is the ocean. You know what? It'd be really funny if we were summoned Cthulhu in this place. He's lying at the bottom here, in his non-Euclidean habitat. Speaking of which, if you play Pokemon Platinum, Giratina really comes off as that sort of evil, godlike Pokemon, like Cthulhu or the devil himself. Anyway, back on the second floor, and hold it. This is the run where I'll make it to the third floor. So, as I recall, the way you get through this section is essentially, I'm not sure how you do it without an FAQ, because it's so random and it goes against game logic. It's really devious, actually. Here's what you do: you use Pokemon and you use Flash on this block. You use Flash on this block. Okay, first of all, how the hell are you supposed to figure that out? And also, in this game, Flash isn't a HM. So it's not like you would always have Flash ready to reuse on your party members. And yes, I did have to use a guide for that, and whatever, I don't care. Luckily, the next one is a lot less obscure. I mean, it still doesn't make sense when it comes to the Pokemon gameplay logic, but I guess it's slightly less hidden, especially than just using Flash, which has nothing to do with moving a block, by the way. I mean, was there a clue about it? I mean, as far as I can tell, the messages are just about some king or whatever, or what have you. And now I'm looking at the messages on Bulbapedia about the king, the messages about the king. And there's not really one about light as well. Not even an obscure clue. But anyway, now we're back on the third floor here. Cool, nearly there. At this point I've got to be so careful about how I move, because I'm like I really don't want to use up these 500 steps. Of course, 500 steps was the overblown sequel to the 39 steps, and yeah, it was 5 hours long. Yeah, this one, you use strength to move a block. I mean, granted, you're moving it sideways, which doesn't really fit in with Pokemon logic. Oh wait, no, you're not. You're moving it forward. I don't know what I'm saying here. I'm getting confused. But again, at least that one was less obscure than just using Flash on a random block. Now this is the top of the pyramid, where we find the final item. Relic Crown. And with that, I'm the king of the castle. And you're the dirty rascal. And messages about the king or whatever. King, I am the king. Thank you very much.